I got this question via Twitter. It's one that's come up in the past, and I feel like I've never really addressed it, but there's some things to be said about it. Why doesn't Apple move iMessage to Android? You know, they put Apple Music on Android, so obviously Apple is not against having Apple services available for their competition, and iMessage is incredibly popular for iPhone users. And in this particular tweet, it's brought up that if they made money via stickers, maybe the fact that that market would double would be very profitable for Apple, right? There are even a few times in the past we found out that Apple had concept versions of iMessage designed specifically for Android. That was in the works at some point, and there was really an official working version of it, made by Apple. Of course, there are other people out there who have hacked into the Android mainframe and made iMessage forcefully work on there in a very complicated way, but what's the big deal? Why are they against that? I think that huge big reason is because iMessage is actually too good. It is so good, in fact, that they want to make sure that is an Apple exclusive. No one else has that. iMessage, when it came out, was really quite ahead of its time, and it's something that I bet Google really wished they would have implemented earlier. How it works is people with phone numbers have IDs for that iMessage account, but you don't necessarily have to have a phone number. It can work with any Apple ID, which means just any email address. However, if other users have an Apple product, that means that an email can now text a phone number, as in this allows for many cross-platforms. And of course, iMessage texts are not delivered via SMS. They're delivered over the internet, the way it was meant to be. I don't know why we still send, SMS text. Data makes way more sense. Just basically what Facebook Messenger is. Send those things over the internet. Text files, they're very small. It's not that hard to send them over the internet. Anyway, this is a really handy feature a lot of the time. For instance, when you're on a plane, you have to use airplane mode because your phone cannot communicate with cell towers. But now on planes, of course, we have Wi-Fi. On the flight back from Florida, I was texting people the entire time via their phone number. However, since it was delivered over the internet, that conversation was possible. Whereas if that was an SMS text conversation, there's no way for me to communicate with the cell towers, so it wouldn't have happened. And of course, what I really like about iMessage is its implementation into the Apple ecosystem, is that it works on the Apple Watch, the iPhone, the iPad, the MacBook. It supports everything. It's great. And Google's trying to make their own version of that, whether it be Allo or redesigning Android Messenger into calling it Android Messages. Because the thing is, there are a ton of Apple users out there who do not want to convert to Android simply for that reason. Quite a few people are afraid to admit that, but it's true. There's nothing else more humiliating than being that green guy in your contacts list. When all of your friends have iPhones and they're all texting each other and everyone's blue except you, that's embarrassing. And if they include you in a group chat, now everyone is green, which of course is more annoying. It's a minor annoyance, but Apple really got a lot of people locked into that iMessage system to the point now it's very hard to move out of it. There are a lot of people who really hate their iPhones, but they don't want to be green, and that's what's keeping them from switching to Android. So it's yet to be seen that Google can create a paralleled version of iMessage that is good enough to make people convert. I think iMessage's best competitor, and you can't really even call it a competitor, is Facebook Messenger. It's cross-platform. Of course, it works on desktops, laptops, tablets, smartphones, even my Apple Watch. It's the most available messaging platform out there. But it is not powered by your phone number, as iMessage is, and that implementation is really keeping a lot of Apple's fans from switching. So, if Apple did decide to make a version of iMessage for Android, they would lose a bunch of sales. It's hard to tell how many, whether it be like a 5% or 10% decrease, but that's a lot for them. They need them to stick, and it would be kind of an Apple thing to do. But even if they charged for iMessage on Android, say it was like $1 app on the Google Store, they would probably still lose money because that dollar doesn't compensate losing an entire iPhone sale. So they experimented with it, but when they do the math, it's not going to help them out. Apple did also say that they have over 1 billion active iMessage devices, all using their servers, and they're not really interested in expanding that. That's quite a lot of data. Think about 1 billion devices using iMessage. That's a lot of text messages every day. So now if you opened that up to Android, and I'm sure tons of people would start using it immediately, that could effectively double because there are more Android devices out there than iOS, which means Apple would have to beef up their servers to support that, which of course iMessage is free for all us Apple users. I just don't think that would end well for them. They're like, no, we don't need to double up on all our servers, and we don't want to lose iPhone sales. So there's your answer. That's why I don't think iMessage will ever come to Android, and if it does, they'll probably charge for it. Quite a lot. Maybe even a monthly subscription, because Apple would do that kind of thing. They're like, we hate you. Take this. We know you want it, but pay a lot of money for it. I doubt even that will happen. I think they're just more interested in you buying an iPhone. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.